when you go into ELAR and you're, applying for a profile or whatever you're doing, oh my goodness, don't do it on your cell phone, because your fingers are bigger than you think they are. And don't do it and hit submit right away. Go back in and read everything. Because, my goodness, people put typos in their social security numbers, and then they'll go in later to try to get in again, and then you'll have one name, one address, one date of birth, with 2 different social security numbers, and then the profiles don't merge. It just messes everything up. So don't do anything on the Department of Education website until you've got some time. You've got whatever time you're going to need. You can read everything again, double check your numbers, your social, your birth date, even your address. Just make sure everything is correct before you push that submit button. And this is just kind of obvious advice. Stick to your program. Every once in a while you have to take something that's not part of your program and do a substitution or something, but as much as you can, stick to the licensure program. And if you feel that you can't, then you really need to work with your advisor and pick out the right course that's going to cover that material, okay? And then ask questions. Don't hesitate. If you have a question, ask. You can ask your advisor, you can come in and ask me, because my door really is always, always open if I'm in there. And I just put everything down, I don't care, you're important, you come in and we'll go over whatever is concerning to you, and I'll point you in the right direction. Which brings me to rule number 1. Actually, it's my only rule. You're not allowed to worry. Because you're going to be fretting and worrying about something, and you're going to come in and I'm going to say, oh yeah, blah blah. And you're just going to have wasted all of that energy, and your stress levels are going to go up through the ceiling, and it's just not worth it. So any questions, anything, shoot me an email, stop by, but you're not allowed to worry about licensure. That's my job. Okay, so any questions?
So you said earlier that if we decide to get more than one license, like say I'm history ed and say I decide I want to get a political science one also. You said that only the one that we're in a program here for would be endorsed by you. What does that BU endorsement mean or do? Like if we have a license that's not endorsed, does that mean it's not like real?
Oh no, it's every bit as real. You have to complete an approved program to get your first license. And so I'll be going in and endorsing you with the state saying, so-and-so finished her license, she's good to go. I sign an affidavit saying that you're not an axe murderer, everything is fine. And then they'll issue that license. And then the additional licenses build off that foundation.
Okay.
And I just want people to be sure they understand that. Also, I put an endorsement on your transcript. It says something like, this student has completed a Massachusetts and NASDAQ approved and NASDAQ recognized program for initial licensure grades 8 through 12 history. You won't get that license. You won't get that endorsement on your transcript for the 5 through 8 license. But you still have the 5 through 8 license, which is what I want you to have.
Okay.
I want you to have that in your pocket.
This might be something like both you can speak to. How far in advance should we be looking to register for MTELs? Is this something that can be done relatively close to when they're, or should I look ahead?
The computer-based thing, I think you need to plan ahead, but not crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it also depends on what test you're taking.
Okay.
I, to be honest, did not do my research about MTELs and took them senior spring. And so I took it like the last one that I could take before getting them before graduation. But like honestly, math people, the highest level that's on there is Calc 2. Take it, get it over with. For the topic specific ones. So know yourself, know your abilities. Also know that you go to BU, so your level of education is very high, and trust yourself with the MTELs. I was like stressing out about them, and then I took them and I finished them in half the time that they allotted me. So just go take them. There's one testing center that's right next to the Boston Common. took their T there, got
Which
it
is
done,
street, is it?
and then went over to Georgetown afterwards to really listen. So, the practice tests online are also a very good indicator of what's on there. So I just printed off one practice test, took it, sat down, kind of like SAT prep, took it once, and then just went back and reviewed like the certain questions. I was like, hey, I needed to think twice about that. But other than that, it was fine.
Good.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the tests completed before you graduate, but you're not gonna get a license until the tests are completed. So you have to kind of figure out how you want to handle that. It's good if you can have them done before you graduate, so that you'll graduate, I'll do the PU stuff for you, and the license will pop out the other end. But if you can't, because of your schedule or whatever is going on in your life, take them as soon as you can.
Are school districts generally like more understanding if they see that the license is pending and if you've taken MTELs, they know that it's just waiting to go through and it won't?
Right.
This is actually a situation that came up for me
Okay.
where I got a job offer in March of senior year,
Yeah,
and it was just like my license,
yeah,
like I have a MEPIN number, but nothing apart from
Yeah.
that, And this is where I actually was emailing her all summer, like SOS, SOS.
yeah.
The district ended up just asking me for my MEPIN number, so at the moment that my license went through, the next day, they put me through and gave me a contract.
That's awesome.
Kind of thing. So I would even, on your resume, if they maybe put your MEPIN number, if
Yeah.
you are at that stage,
Yeah.
so that they can look at you. I know that's gonna be especially important for elementary and those kinds of, for those of you from those majors. I benefit from being a math and science person, so they're like, oh, even if your license doesn't go through very soon, you still have a job, But I definitely had a few friends who were looking for jobs at the elementary level, and they were like, my license is coming, I promise, but there are just so many more teachers for that,
Yeah.
that they wanted something a little bit more solid. But I actually emailed Joanne and was just like, hey, my district wants a letter saying that my license is on the way, and they process that right away.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do letters, like I said earlier. There are different things that we can do, and I'm happy to do it for you. But don't you dare tell me you need a letter before you really need one. Because if I'm writing, 300, I deal with, in this May graduation, I have about 300 students I'm working with. So if I'm sitting there writing letters for all these people who don't really need them at that point, then I'm not putting through the licensure work, because it's just me. I don't have a helper or anything. So if you need it, I have to trust I will trust your judgment.
I
If you
forwarded
need
her
it,
the
fine.
email from my principal
Oh, you
saying I
don't even
need
have
this,
to
this,
do
and
that,
this,
but-
you
Yeah.
know, but.
Yeah, but, I'm happy to do it if you need it, but don't ask me to do it until you do need it. And by putting your MTEL, saying you passed your foundations of reading, you passed general curriculum, you've passed communication and literacy skills, that would tell them that an elementary teacher has all those tests passed. And, the degree is coming, so they know, they can read into these things. And if you put the MEPID number up, like I have a back door where I can go in and look at information in the Department of Ed database, and the school districts have something similar to that also. So they can kind of check, and they'll work with you. And, you let me know what's going on, and I will work with you and do a letter or, done phone calls, whatever it takes, we'll do it.
Just going off what you said, take as many licenses as possible. Like when you said that the math is only up to Calc 2, but I'm elementary education, would it make sense, and I took Calc in high school, would it make sense for me to take that licensure as well, even though that doesn't really follow a pattern?
Well, you wouldn't have that other piece that you need, the course or seminar addressing the developmental age of the students.
Okay.
So it probably wouldn't make a lot of sense, but there are 3 math tests. There's the elementary one that I usually suggest to folks. There's also a middle school one. So middle school is 5 through 8. So you could teach 5 through 8 because elementary is 1 through 6, so you would have had a course covering the developmental psychology of up to 6. So that would work for you. The high school one, I don't think it would really work, but if you take the high school one, it does filter down to all those other levels.
Right.
It's just that you couldn't get the high school math license unless you packed in adolescent development.
Also use that information to inform your course decisions and stuff, because I was definitely stressing out about, do I take middle school math prep courses, or do I do my Spanish minor at BU? And then once I heard that I could just pay $25 to get a middle school license, I was like, I'm gonna get a Spanish minor. You know, so don't stress out about that. Use that to actually play with the flexibility of your classes, I would say.
Yeah. Did you get a Spanish license?
I did.
There you go.
So,
Girl after my own heart.
yeah.
So I just have a question about the like elementary math thing that you were talking about earlier, about how you can take it like separately.
Right.
So what is that, I'm just like, I'm confused about what that means, so like, cause my math like teacher right now, cause we're doing like elementary education math, so she said to take it like, and it's a good time to take it like after we finish the course. So like you can take it like separately from all the rest of your MTELs if you want, and then what does that do?
The general curriculum test is broken into 2 subsets, which you can take in one sitting or you can take separately.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm talking about splitting them.
Okay, okay.
So you have to take the general curriculum piece, no matter what, that's everything, so take that. And then the option comes with the math piece. You can take the math subset of the general curriculum test, if you choose to do that, and you'll get the license the same way. Or you can take that math 1 through 6 test, I think it was number 53, does anybody remember? Yeah, it was 53. You can take that instead of the subset of math in the general curriculum.
Okay.
So you're only gonna take 2
Okay.
tests. You're gonna take a subset and a whole test. Am I explaining that? So it makes any
So
sense?
like you can take your, if you take your math, the math like MTEL, like just separately?
Yep.
Does that mean you don't have to take it for the general curriculum test then?
That will substitute.
It will
for-
substitute,
yes.
okay, so you can just take the math part separate from the rest?
53,
Okay,
yep, correct.
okay, that was my question. Okay.
Yeah, so you're still sitting for 2 things. You're sitting for the general curriculum piece and the math MTEL.
Okay, but separate from each other, right?
Well, they would have to be separate.
Yeah, okay.
Those 2 would have to be separate. If you choose to do the math subset of the general curriculum test, then you can sit for the general curriculum subset and the math subset in one.
Yeah, one like,
sitting.
yeah,
Yeah, but if you want to do that other test, it's
it's like you
separate
can
for
do
all
it like,
tests.
like a year before you do the general curriculum. Okay,
Yeah,
so that, okay, cool.
yeah, definitely. But just don't go back and take the subset in math of general
Yeah.
curriculum. Yeah. Anything else? Yep.
I had some extra time in my schedule senior year, and so what would I have to do in order to get endorsed in both high school and middle school math? Because I'm on the high school track
That's
right
just
now.
one class, right?
Well, this
Now
year.
it's changed.
Yeah, it's been a fun year. So we used to be able to have people do a half practicum, say your high school math. So you're gonna do a full practicum in 8 through 12, whatever grade you pick. And then we used to be able to say you can do a half practicum in the 5 through 8. And pretty much all the coursework is the same. And we would be able to endorse you for both. But now the state has said that they won't accept half practicums anymore. So, yeah. If you have time to do another full practicum, which would be 300 hours, then we can, I know. I don't do these things up, trust me. Then we could do another endorsement for you. But either way, you can get that as a license.
Right.
Do you have any other questions for Joanne? We'll let
I just
Rachel
recommend
talk
getting
about-
all of that stuff, all of your end of the stuff done before graduation. Because that helped me relax a little bit, because I knew that the only thing left after graduation was for her to put in my transcript. That was it.
Oh, it's more than that, but
Well, more
yeah.
than that. Like, in terms of what I could think of, and like nag people about, the only thing I knew of was transcript. I know that there was a lot more on her end. But get all that stuff done here. Like, probably none of you were in the lobby the day that I was putting all my information onto this ELR website, but I sat her down next to me and put in the information. And so I knew that it was done and dusted. There's a lot of information here, don't let it overwhelm you, and ended up taking about maybe 30 minutes of my life apart from taking the MTELs. So it sounds like a lot, but that's just because it's the law and it's a lot of stuff like that.
And that was the overview of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you don't do the whole thing all at once, right? So, but that's what students want to know. They want to see the whole big picture. So now you have the whole big picture. So now you start in the beginning. You know, you think about, can I take the communication literacy skills MTEL? Can I do that now? Be done. Yay, okay. Are there any other MTELs I can take? Okay. Start an application maybe. You have to do a profile when you're a junior. You don't have to start your application yet. It's too soon. This is just kind of the whole thing. And then, like I said, you know, just come in. I'm not the scariest person on campus. Just stop in.
Can
And
you
we'll
talk
talk
about
about it.
your score after the off the hallway that's in the lobby?
Yeah,
Like
take
when
a,
you walk in SCD, if you go right off the lobby, down that hallway.
yes. I prefer to say take a ride in the Grand Piano.
Take a right at the grand piano and then join us all.
And once you pass the MTELs, like, do they send you, like, something that says you passed it? And do I have to give that to you?
Oh, no, don't give it to me.
Okay.
But, because we really and truly don't use them. I get a notice from the MTEL company, from Pearson, saying, you know, your scores are ready from the blah blah test. I'm like, delete, delete. Really and truly, we don't use them. But you'll get information from them saying what your score, I think they only give you the score if you're close to passing, but you didn't quite make it. If you pass it, you're just told pass, you know, you get that.
It's not like
Is it
it's
email?
not it's not like the SAT. You don't get a score and you go back and test for a better grade. You either pass
it
or you don't.
fail it. Yeah,
And so I have no idea what I scored, how many I got wrong. I just know that I passed it.
yeah.
And they
that's
send
all
you an
need.
email saying, here are your scores, or here's your score. You click on it, all excited, and then it's like, oh, you passed. Okay.
That means you got over 240. But that's good news, because also an employer will never know how many times you had to sit for that test. Right? Which I don't think is a big issue with our population, but I know that, you know, I work with the licensure offices from all over the state. And I know that in some schools it is very difficult for people. So an employer would never know that you sat for the math 8 through 12 test 45 times, except for the frazzled look on your face. They'll just know, you passed it, you got your license, yay for you.
How long does it take for them to, like, give you your
I think
passing?
it was like a month turnaround. When you register for your test, there's like a thing that says if you took the test by this time, this is the date that your score will be emailed to you. And it's usually like a
Yeah.
month to 6 week turnaround depending. I know the math one, they just like grade it less. So there's like 5 reporting times in the year. So be aware of that. If you're someone who needs to know if you passed, don't take it on a time when you're not going to hear for another 2 months, because that will emotionally stress you out for no reason.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should also put that into your planning process, I guess. You know, when, you know, kind of do a backwards plan. When do I want my results in? And look at when you'd have to take the test to get the results by whatever you decided you need them by.
So do you need to, like, be entered into the, like, ELAR system before you take the MTELs, or can you do that, like, is that a different process?
I would say you should have a profile at least set up
Okay.
before you do it. But even if you don't, I think that for the MTELs, they use your social.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, after I took the MTEL, when I logged into ELAR, it had it saying that I passed the MTEL. So it
Okay.
like goes in there automatically.
Yeah.
So I would say just like get your LEAP number. That's all
Okay.
you need.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so do that. And then, when you're juniors, and I tell you, you know, send that email that you're going to carefully read. When you get that one, and you do your profile and you get your MEPID number, then I'm also going to have you put it in the link, in the BU link. So that's, you know, a little more that you'll be doing, so we'll have a record of it. Yes?
Is this like loose timeline of doing this stuff? Is it, how different is it if you were graduating a semester early? Like, does everything just do everything a semester early?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Again, the tests, the MTELs are on you. It's up to you when you choose to take them. But you need to make it part of your grand plan. You know, like Rachel was saying, you want to take them in November so that you'll have them in January or whatever. I don't know what it is, but whatever it works out to be. So, you know, you have to think about it a little bit in advance and figure out what's going to work for you. But it's all
also-
about you. It really is.
Also keep in mind that the state will take their sweet time processing your paperwork on their end to give you the license.
Oh, good news. The state has caught up with its backlog.
Awesome.
Yeah. They had like a 6-month backlog or something, and now they're down to like a 2-week backlog.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, but those of you who are graduating in May also know that it's not just me graduating. And
Yeah, there's 52 colleges that produce educators in Massachusetts. And then there's usually something like 7,000 people who come in from out of state. So, it's pretty crazy.
That's why I say get your paperwork in. Or-
Yeah, get everything, you know, so again, you know, read my emails, because I submit all of the BU graduates in one really large FedEx envelope to the state. And if you're not in there, then you're going to go in a separate little envelope. The big FedEx envelope, they give it to somebody, that poor soul has to sit down and click through all those people, and it gets done within a week usually. But if I'm sending you in a little, you know, business envelope because you didn't get your stuff into me when you should have, then you're just in a mail bag with, I don't know how many other little business size envelopes. So it's really to your advantage to get everything done on time and turned in. Okay. And again, you know, if you have any questions, you just come by and ask, and there's a solution for every problem. That's how I feel about it anyway. So, you know, we can work on whatever's going on and take care of it and have a good resolution. Okay? We all set? Okay, so I'm in 113, right at the grand piano. You're welcome to come down.
Joanne.